Hello guys, welcome to another vlog. This is not my birth vlog. Well, not yet anyway, not that I know of. We are currently on our way to my 40-week midwife appointment. I'm currently 39 weeks and 6 days, but the way that my hospital does like their midwife appointments, they fall on a Friday. So I always have like my 40-week appointment on like the last day of my previous week, if that makes sense. But yeah, my due date is tomorrow. I'm still pregnant. I'm feeling very just emotional today. Today's been a very emotional day. But other than that, I actually feel okay, which I think is maybe why I'm emotional, because like one day I'll go from being really uncomfortable and feeling like things are happening, and then I'll wake up the next day and it's like it's all fizzled out. And that's what's happened this morning. Like I've woken up feeling pretty not normal because I'm heavily pregnant, but like just yeah, not uncomfortable. Like nothing's really progressing, nothing's happening, and I think that's probably why I'm just feeling a bit strange. So anyway, we're off to the midwife appointment. I'm gonna have a chat to her about doing a cervical check, which they don't usually do as like a regular thing at my hospital unless you specifically request it. So I've actually not had a cervical check done yet. I know in different countries, different states, whatever, they're like a routine thing from like 36 weeks onwards, I think. But yeah, I haven't had one done. So I'm gonna ask her to do one and we'll see what comes from that. Hopefully it doesn't leave me feeling disheartened, because I think that, I don't know, there's like a fine line between knowing and then knowing too much. But I also want to chat to her about doing a stretch and sweep. Some people call it a membrane sweep or a cervical sweep. I think there's a few different names for it, but it's basically where like the midwife goes in and just like stretches and sweeps the membranes of your cervix to try and trigger labor. And I think it like triggers the prostaglandin. It triggers something to basically induce labor. So I'm gonna have a chat to her about that and just like see what she thinks about doing that today. She did tell me that from 40 weeks I could request it and she'll do it, but I just want to chat to her about like the pros and cons and like, you know, just get her advice. So yeah, that's the plan. That's what we're off to do right now. So I will keep you guys updated. All right, so we are back home now, chilling on the couch. That was interesting. It was a very interesting experience. Basically, they've scheduled an induction for the 3rd of May, which is a week and a half away. She tried to do a stretch and sweep, but couldn't reach my cervix because my cervix is sitting really posterior. So how long do you reckon she was like in there reaching around for? It felt like forever for me. Yeah, she was in there for a couple of minutes just trying to like get to my cervix, and I could feel her fingers a couple of times. She was able to grab it, but then it would just slip away, and it was not comfortable at all. And it has made me bleed quite a bit, which she said is normal and it should just like fizzle out over the afternoon. But yeah, so stretch and sweep was not successful. She didn't really manage to do it, but I do feel like she's moved stuff around in there. Like obviously something got really irritated, which is why I'm bleeding now. I'm not in pain, like nothing hurts or anything like that, but she obviously triggered something or like just irritated something in there, which I'm hoping is going to do something anyway. She did say that my cervix is really, really soft, which is a really good thing. And she said that all of these Braxton Hicks that I'm feeling and all like the aches and the cramps and stuff like that is a really good sign as well. So she seems pretty confident that I won't get to my induction date. She reckons that I'll naturally go into labor myself over the next few days, which was nice to hear, but at the same time I'm like, I don't want to get my heart set on that just because she was so confident when she was saying it. I don't want that to be now my expectation, and if it doesn't happen, to get upset. So I'm just trying to keep an open mind and not like get too caught up on the fact that she said that. So anyways, it was interesting. It was a very like weird, strange experience, but I do feel better knowing that my cervix is really soft. That's a really good sign. Obviously she couldn't tell me how dilated I was or anything because she could barely even reach my cervix. But yeah, that's pretty much the update. I'm gonna try and stay active this afternoon just in case anything she did do is like happening down there, and like hopefully if I go for a walk it'll keep things moving and keep things going. So Ben and I are about to take Coop for a walk now, and I might do some more like curb walking and see if that triggers anything. But yeah, tomorrow's my due date, so maybe she's just waiting to be on time.
Are you ready?
Show us your dad fit.
What?
Major dad vibes. Socks and sandals. Alrighty, so it is a week later. I'm still pregnant. I am currently 41 weeks and 1 day pregnant, which some people refer to as like 40 weeks and 8 days, because like once you hit 40 weeks and you go over, you kind of just count like how many days overdue you are. So I'm 8 days overdue. And yeah, really did not think that we would be here. But baby girl is on her own schedule. She has her own plans, and that is fine. It's a very strange feeling actually, because today is the 1st of May and we had been prepared for an April baby, which like, it doesn't matter when she comes. I have no preference as long as she is healthy. But it is just a very strange feeling, like you spend your whole pregnancy preparing for this month, and like you enter that your birth month getting so excited. You're like, wow, it's gonna be this month. This is crazy. I even remember uploading an Instagram story on like the 1st of April being like, oh my God, it's baby month. And here we are, 1st of May. So yeah, she's gonna be a May baby, which is exciting. Throwing a bit of a spanner in the works, don't mind that. I feel like I have a lot to update you guys on, but also like the last week for me has been very quiet, but I still wanted to sit down and do a bit of a chatty segment to this vlog. I know I vlogged my 40-week midwife appointment and haven't really vlogged anything since, but I think the rest of this vlog I'm just gonna like sit down and update you guys on what's been happening in the last week. Because yeah, going overdue is not something I was prepared for mentally or physically. Like, it's such a weird time. And I know a lot of you guys follow me and watch my videos because you're also pregnant, or you just enjoy following the journey and learning about it. But yeah, I kind of just want to like sit down and update you guys and run you through what the last week has been like, because yeah, it's a lot. I have been doing little updates on my Instagram, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, highly recommend. That's probably where I'm going to announce that like baby's being born first, just because it's easier like to shoot a photo and just pop it up straight away on Instagram rather than like sit down and edit an entire vlog. So if you guys want more like current updates, definitely follow me on Instagram. But yeah, so let's go back to like my 40-week midwife appointment, which I vlogged at the beginning of this video. So after my 40-week appointment, I feel like I was in a really weird headspace. Like when I vlogged, I feel like I didn't really show realistically how I was feeling. I just kind of updated you guys on what happened at the appointment, rolled with it. And then it wasn't really until later that night where I was just sitting down and like chilled out a little bit and was really like thinking about what had happened in that appointment. And it just threw me. It threw my brain into such a spin. So I think just feeling like I had the choice taken away from me about my induction, like going into that appointment and she literally just said like, your induction's booked for Tuesday. Didn't ask me if I'd wanted it, didn't ask anything. And like my birth preferences, which the hospital have, they have it on my record. It clearly says I want to avoid induction. And so it was just really like confronting being told literally the second I walk into that appointment, your induction is booked. Like, whoa. What if I don't want that? And I know it's just hospital policy, but it was kind of the way that it was like said to me and enforced, I guess. Like, I don't know, it was very, very odd. And so yeah, later that day when I was just sitting down thinking, like running through my head about what had happened, it just really threw me. The other thing that I guess was really disheartening was the fact that like my cervix was so posterior and she couldn't do a proper stretch and sweep. She couldn't do a stretch and sweep at all. And so I went through all of that discomfort and that like pain, because that was not a comfortable process at all. And it felt like for nothing, because at the end of the day, she couldn't reach my cervix. And that is not her fault at all, not the midwife's fault, but it was just like a very disheartening feeling. So I was like, I'm 40 weeks pregnant and like my body, I can't do anything. I don't know. It was just like a very disheartening feeling. Not only that, I bled for quite a while after it. It kind of stopped like after the second day, maybe that afternoon. It kind of turned from fresh blood into old blood and then it stopped. But then that second day after I had the attempted cervical sweep, I also started losing little bits of my mucus plug, which was also very confusing because it was like I was still bleeding a little bit from the stretch and sweep, but then I also had little bits of mucus plug coming out. And so I was like kind of getting excited that maybe the stretch and sweep had done something, but it also wasn't like my entire mucus plug. It was just like little bits here and there. I was also incredibly crampy and achy, which I think got my hopes up a little bit too, because I was like, something's happening, and that like whatever she did inside must have triggered something, because now I'm like super crampy, super achy. Obviously fast forward a week, it did nothing because I'm still pregnant. But the mind game that all of this stuff plays on you is insane. Every little thing that happens, you hold on to this little piece of hope that like, maybe this is labor starting, maybe this is it, maybe my baby's coming. And then it'll all just fizzle out into nothing. And yeah, you're still pregnant. Sorry, my camera battery just died. But yeah, so that was the beginning of my 40th week. And I had a few days after that where I was just feeling really like lost and disheartened, like nothing was happening, no changes in my body. I didn't lose any more of my mucus plug. It was just like, it slowed right down, and I felt like all I had at that point was just counting down the days until my induction, which I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do, but like this was just the date that they'd given me. And I guess I just felt like a lot of pressure to figure out whether I actually wanted the induction or not. Because I've been told like I don't have to go, I don't have to have my induction, I can just not show up, or I can just call them and cancel it. But yeah, so yeah, for most of last week, like my 40th week, I was trying to go for a walk or like 2 walks every day just to keep my body moving. I've been bouncing on my ball a lot, just being like still having date smoothies, my red raspberry leaf tea. And then I decided, I think it was like the Wednesday last week, I decided I was going to go out and buy some clary sage, because I've heard that clary sage is like, it's an essential oil basically that helps to trigger uterus contractions. I think it's supposed to help relax your body, but then like contract your uterus as well. Have a look into it, do some research online, because I'm not explaining it very well at all. But I went on the hunt for some clary sage, ended up finding some. So I've been putting that in my diffuser and also mixing it in with my belly oil and rubbing it on my belly every morning. I also had like a clary sage bath, obviously still pregnant, so whatever. I'm trying things, willing to give it a shot, but it is kind of disheartening because, you know, I've got people messaging me on Instagram saying, try clary sage is what did it for me. And I'm like, okay, great, go out and buy clary sage. Days pass, nothing happens. And then Thursday morning, I went and had a pregnancy induction massage, which was very intense. They did like Chinese acupressure, acupuncture, and also like suction cups mixed in with like a massage. It was this whole big package deal of a massage, and I'd love to say that it was relaxing. It wasn't, because there was like the purpose of trying to put me into labor. So he was hitting all of the pressure points, and the back massage that he did was quite intense to get to those pressure points. Like still now, if I touch my lower back, it's still a bit sore and tender. So that was 4 days ago. I'm not in labor. So tried that, didn't seem to work. He even said to me like, this usually puts people into labor that afternoon or that night. So he's like, fingers crossed it's the same for you. But it wasn't. I'm still here. I'm still pregnant. And then Friday morning, I woke up at about 4 a.m. and realized I hadn't felt baby move all through the night, and like she wasn't very active that previous night as well. And like, granted, I have a very active baby usually, like I feel her constantly and I can like poke around and she will respond straight away. So when I woke up at 4 a.m. and realized that I hadn't felt her move for a little bit, I got up, had like a cold drink, had something sweet. This is kind of strange, but like usually if I have Nutella, she starts to move and she gets the hiccups every time I have Nutella, without a doubt. So I had like a spoonful of Nutella, nothing. I sat on the couch for like 45 minutes just trying to get her to move, like poking around, and I couldn't feel anything. And so that really freaked me out. I called the birthing suites and they said to come in straight away so that they could monitor me. So Ben and I rushed up to the hospital. We got there, they put the monitors on. They put like a heart rate monitor on and then like a contraction monitor. Her heart rate was fine. It was a little bit lower than what it has been, but like it was still within normal range. And hearing her heartbeat was like the biggest relief ever, because I was just so stressed and anxious that something was wrong. So hearing her heartbeat, oh my God, biggest relief. But she still wasn't really moving. And I think what they look for is like an increase in heartbeat in correspondence with like a movement. So they give you a little button and they ask you to press the button when you feel a movement. And for like the first half an hour, I still hadn't felt a movement at all. Her heart rate wasn't changing at all. She was very still. She must have been very, very sleepy. But yeah, so that was like a little bit stressful. The one thing I will say is if you ever have any doubts, like if you're ever concerned about anything, just go in and get checked, because for a second there I thought I was being really silly and like I was scared to wake Ben up and tell Ben that I was like worrying about reduced movement, because I was like, I could just be overreacting, this could be nothing. Even when I called the birthing suites, I was like, Erin, are you just freaking out because of like nothing? But once I got in there and the midwife said like, I'm glad you came in because like she's not being very active at all and this is something you need to monitor, I was like, okay, I feel good that I'm here. Long story short, after about half an hour, I started to feel her move. And so I started clicking the button and it was corresponding with like her heart rate going up and down. So that was really good. And then from there, she just started getting like more and more active. And yeah, everything was fine. The midwife was really happy with her movements and like the monitoring. And so like we were good to go. While I was there, I also got a speculum check. Speculum, is that what they call it? Yeah, it's like the thing that they use in a pap smear. But the midwife wanted to check that my waters hadn't broken, because I did mention to her that my discharge had become quite fluidy, like it was quite watery. And so she was worried that potentially my waters had broken and it was just like a slow trickle. So she checked that and did like a swab to make sure that it wasn't amniotic fluid coming out, which it wasn't. That was all fine. And then she also attempted another stretch and sweep, which I feel like did go a little bit better than my previous one. She said she managed to reach my cervix and she felt the opening of my cervix. She said my cervix was still very soft, and she said that she got her fingers in there a little bit. She said like it's probably not going to do anything, like she couldn't complete a proper stretch and sweep, but she said she did feel the opening. She got her fingers in there a little bit. She tried as best as she could, and she said she also felt baby's head bobbling up and down as well. So baby's head is still engaged and my cervix is like, it was slightly open, which is like a really good sign. Again, stretch and sweep didn't really go to plan. She even said to me, she's like, I'm not confident that's going to do anything, I'm sorry. And I was like, it's fine. Like, it was worth a try, whatever. And it wasn't as painful as the first one either. So yeah, that was a very big, exhausting morning, but I've been feeling baby move a lot since then. I haven't had any concerns since, but I am so glad that I just bit the bullet and went to the hospital to get monitored, because yeah, they did not make me feel silly at all. Like, it's so important to not doubt yourself, trust your body, trust your instincts, because yeah, you just never know. And like, it's so better to be safe than sorry. So yeah, that was Friday. And then yesterday, which was Saturday, day after, it was just another normal day of like pregnancy discomfort, pelvic pressure, all the same stuff that I've been feeling for the last like 4 weeks. Nothing really different. I've been feeling on and off crampy and achy, but like that's becoming normal now because I've been feeling like that for a couple of weeks. So then last night at about 9:30, I was laying in bed and I got the most excruciating pain come through my abdomen. It kind of started in my lower pelvic area and like wrapped around to my back, but then it kind of just like went all over once it got more intense. And to be completely honest, it 100% felt like that like really intense trapped wind, like gassy pain, but my stomach was really tight. I felt like I couldn't move. It was just like full on, and it was lasting ages. Like I said to Ben, this can't be a contraction. I'm so confused because like contractions aren't supposed to last this long. Like I felt like I was just laying there in pain for like 5 minutes. So anyway, I got Ben to like help me get up off the bed, and I started moving around a little bit. The pain started getting a little bit better, and I said to Ben, I think I just need to bounce on my exercise ball. Like all I wanted to do was just like kind of take the pressure off my back and kind of like open up my hips. So he ran and grabbed the exercise ball. I sat down on that and like started bouncing, and then I just had like an urge to go to the toilet. So I went to the toilet. For some reason I wiped before I peed because I don't know, I just felt like something was there. This is so weird, but felt like something was there. And sure enough, my mucus plug had come out, like the whole plug, the whole thing. And instantly I was like, oh my God. And Ben freaked out thinking something was wrong. I just like started pissing myself laughing because I couldn't believe that this thing had just come out of me. I'd seen pictures online and I knew what to expect, but like looking at it in front of you on a piece of toilet paper, I was like, that just came out of me. I don't know, I think I was just like happy to know that my body is doing what it needs to be doing, and that there in front of me was like proof that I can trust my body and like trust that it's doing what it needs to be doing. I know that your mucus plug can regenerate, and I know that it doesn't necessarily mean you're going into labor, but I think being 41 weeks pregnant and finally seeing your mucus plug come out, it is a good feeling, because it's just like up until this point you feel like your body is not doing anything, especially because they say that like losing your mucus plug is a sign that your cervix is starting to open up and dilate. And so again, it was just like, oh, thank God, like something is happening. So yeah, The pain, like the cramping that I was experiencing, went away. I had a few more like intense Braxton Hicks that kind of had like a crampy feel to them, still not super painful. So I just stayed on my exercise ball for like another half an hour after that, bouncing up and down, and then started to feel really normal again, and things went back to just normal. So I jumped back into bed and here we are. I've woken up this morning feeling crampy and achy and uncomfortable. I've been getting Braxton Hicks, but again, that's kind of it. It's Sunday. My induction is booked for Tuesday. My mind has been going back and forth all week about what I want to do with the induction. I've been watching a lot of other YouTubers' videos of like positive inductions, and I've been talking to people that I know personally who have been through inductions. I did the positive induction course that Birth with Beth on Instagram has just launched. I feel a lot better about being induced after doing all that research and like doing that course and chatting to people, but also losing my mucus plug last night has kind of thrown me again. I got to a point where I think I was just like, I'd accepted that I'm going to be induced and accepted that I could still have like the birth environment and the birth that I wanted. Like I can still have a natural positive birth from getting induced. But now that I lost my mucus plug last night, there is a small part of me that feels like my body is doing what it needs to be doing, and I potentially like could give it another few days and go into labor naturally. And I just don't know what I want to do. To be completely honest, I just don't know. Mentally, I'm so over it. I just want my baby here in my arms, and the thought of having an end date and knowing that I'll be induced on Tuesday and like it's happening, I'll have her in my arms not long after that, is such a nice feeling. But at the same time, there's still this big part of me that just wants to trust that my body knows what's best, and like baby will come when baby's ready. And I'm very on the fence, and I'm very unsure. I'm very confused. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And that's basically what I wanted to like tell you guys, because I've been getting a lot of messages saying like, are you gonna go through with the induction? And honestly, depending on the day that you send me that message, my answer will be different, because I don't know. And I think I'll wake up Tuesday morning with more of an idea. I'll see how the next couple of days pan out, see if I have anything, you know, any changes happening with my body. So yeah, that's where my head's at right now. It is such a mental game at the end of pregnancy. I feel like I was not prepared for this at all. I was not prepared to go overdue this much. Like I thought if I was going to be overdue, it was just going to be like 40 plus 3, 40 plus 4. But here I am at 41 weeks pregnant. And yeah, people messaging you constantly saying, how are you feeling? And I'm like, I'm feeling fine, but that's the problem. Like I want to be in pain. I want to be in labor, and I'm not. You know, like my dad called me the other day and I answered the phone and he was like, oh, you sound really good. And I'm like, I'm not dying. Like I'm just sitting here waiting for labor to begin. Like I'm fine. It's just this weird limbo phase. It's boring. I feel like I can't go out and do anything. I'm not catching up with friends because I'm too scared that like the minute I leave the house, I'm gonna go into labor. Poor Ben has just been on leave for like 2.5 weeks now for what feels like no reason. I know that there is like, you know, a lot of value to having him at home, and like we've been spending so much time together and it's been really nice, but the whole purpose of his leave was like to have us together as like a new little family, to have a baby here, and we've just been sat around waiting for most of it. So that's also a very strange feeling. I read something the other day that said nobody is pregnant forever, and I was like, okay, that's so true, because I've definitely had days where I've just sat there and been like, you know, I feel so close yet so far to meeting my baby. It feels like it's just this never-ending journey. And yeah, reading that, I was like, Erin, like no one's ever been pregnant forever. Like there is an end. You're gonna meet your baby soon. You just have to trust the timing. Baby girl is obviously very, very comfortable in there. Ben thinks I'm feeding her too well. So maybe I need to start eating just like boring salads and like, you know, an apple as a snack rather than what I have been having. But yeah, here's a little bump update. This is probably going to be one of the last bump updates that you see. I actually cannot believe how stretched I am. Like this is just crazy to me. Absolutely wild. Anyways, I'm probably just going to end the video here now that I have chatted your ears off. Hopefully you found this little update interesting. It was a bit of a like more of a chatty sit down vlog. I hope you guys don't mind, but my life has been literally so boring for the last week. I've been doing nothing other than waiting for a baby to arrive. So hopefully this helps any of you that might be in a similar situation. Feel free to comment down below and like ask me any questions. I'm a fairly open book. I'm happy to just like share the real and raw stuff with you guys. So yeah, comment down below. Let me know if you've been in a similar situation or if you are in a similar situation. Come on over to my Instagram because I've been sharing a lot on my Instagram as well. It's all in like my bump highlights. I've got 3 bump highlights that go through like my whole pregnancy. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. My next video will be a birth vlog. It will be because she can't stay in for that much longer. So whether I get induced or go into spontaneous labor within the next couple of days, that will be the next video. So yeah, that's obviously very exciting. I can say for sure that the next video will be my birth and labor vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it all the way to the end, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps out my channel a lot. And I will see you guys in the next vlog with a baby in my arms. Bye guys.